Hello, welcome to the third part of the Midi controller for VirtualDJ tutorial. Just to recap, in the first part we set up the UC33, my little generic Midi controller here. You can watch that if you have one of those or if you want to get some ideas. In part 2 we set up a basic mixing section on the UC33, which I'll show you right here. This is from last time. We set up EQs, we set up levels, EQ, level for the right deck, a little deck select thing to switch between the decks for the play controls, and we got stop, play, and pitch bend. So today we're going to update this same mapping with a few more bells and whistles. Here we're going to have the resonance and the filter control. Over here we're going to have the resonance and filter control for the right deck. We're going to have the same effects for both sides, kind of going inward from the outside. So we're going to have loop roll, phaser, echo, phaser, loop roll. Really easy. I like having the effects on these sliders down here instead of knobs because they're a lot easier, a lot harder to hit by accident. And here we'll have the pads, which are useful in VirtualDJ for whatever you want. You can switch around using the interface of VirtualDJ what these pads do. They can play samples, they can be cue points, they can jump to loops, do whatever you want. And here we're going to have simple looping, loop in, loop out, and reloop. Reloop is kind of cool. It jumps back to the last loop you use, so you can get out of a loop and then jump back to it. Alright, so let's get started on this. We're going to start first on the filter here. First thing we're going to do is set the filter cutoff for the left deck, and then we're going to set the filter resonance for the left deck, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So let's go into our editor here for the controller. Here's our tutorial map from last time. So now we're going to add in we're going to twist a little knob here, and this is the bottom knob above fader 2, the one I just showed you on the screen over there. And we can actually cheat with this a little bit because we want to make the filter act just like the equalizers, where it will turn off when it's in the middle. So we're going to copy one of our other. This is the left deck EQ. We're going to copy this. Right now, twist the knob. This is the knob above fader 2. Paste it in, and all we need to do is change this guy right here. Let me see if I can select this properly to filter. Now, I don't know if caps have any difference in VirtualDJ, and we do the same thing right here. So now this knob should affect the filter on the left side. So let's try it out. So let's twist it. There we go. Shuts off in the middle. High pass filter, low pass filter. Now we're going to add the resonance, but before we do that, you got this guy over here. VirtualDJ Atomics was nice enough to give us one little extra knob on the interface here that you can use for whatever you want. And I'm going to use this for the resonance so that we get some visual feedback when the resonance is turned up, so you don't have it up by accident. So all we have to do is come over, right click on it. It'll bring up this little button editor, and you just want to type in here deck left filter resonance. So close that out. Go back to the controller editor. So this is the second knob above fader 2. Select it right here. Now, here's something I didn't use in the last tutorial because I didn't really need it, but we're going to use this right here because we're actually going to turn the custom knob that controls the filter. So we have a little milk dropper down here, and we'll go and pick up this custom knob right here. Now we have custom button 5, but we want to make sure deck left custom button 5. Now this knob will now turn the on-screen knob, which is set to the resonance. Kind of a roundabout way to do it, but this way we get visual feedback. Save that bad boy, and let's go check it out. So now we have, or we should. How come that's not working? Hold on. Okay, let's try this again. Somehow it didn't get saved. So slider 37. Pick up with the milk drop. This guy. Wow. I cannot type today, guys. I'm really sorry. Okay, deck left custom button 5. Make sure it takes. And save it. So now it should work. So this is the second knob above. There we go. Now this will be the resonance for your filter. So now you can work the filter. And you can be Kyoki. Add all that acid stuff there. Alright, so we got that in. Now we're going to do same thing for the right side. Now, of course, I like to cheat, and I like to do as much copy pasting as possible because who likes to type? So we'll go pick up our last one, the deck left. Copy this. Now we'll go over to the right side. So this is the bottom knob above fader 7. Just to refresh for you all. So this will be this guy right here for the cutoff on the right side, and then the resonance on the right side will be up here. Okay. So we select the knob here. Be slider 34 on my setup. Paste it in, and all we have to do is change one thing. This is why I love copy pasting. Okay, deck right. Click over here, make sure it takes. Remember from the last tutorial I showed you their mapping interface is just a little bit weird. I'm not sure why they do what they do, but that's what they do. So we're going to stick with it. Okay, so we go the next knob up. So this is the second knob above fader 7. Select that sucker. And we're in a milk drop. This guy in. I already have the resonance set on that one. Set it just like the other one, but for deck right. Okay. Deck right, custom button 10. So now, save it out. Now we have a filter on the right side. And there's the resonance on the custom knob. You can see it right here. Changing. Keep your resonance down until you need it because it makes a screechy sound, and that's what it's for. But, okay, so now we have that. We have our filters for both sides. Very cool. Now we're going to add in... the next part we're going to add in is the pads. And the pads are... Let me show you real quick again. If you notice on here, we have 8 pads. We're only going to use 6, but you have up to 8, which can do anything. They can play samples, they can jump around in the beats, they can do their own kind of loop roll, they can use the slicer. With us only having 6, you probably want to stay away from the slicer and the beat and the loop roll, but it's definitely good for cues and saved loops, all kinds of stuff like that, and remix points. We're just going to keep it right now for hot cues. So let's jump into the editor here. Now, I'm using pads 1 through 6, buttons 1 through 6 over here, which, so if we click one here, it shows up. That's button 4 on my mapping. That's the very first top left button, or keypad button 1. So we have that selected. Now we're going to use the milk dropper, again, to cheat. Love cheating. Pick up pad 1. Boom, there you go. Just in case you can't remember what the actual command is, you can pick a lot of them up right off the interface like that. So this will be deck default, meaning whichever deck has the headphone listen assigned to it is your default deck. Basically, the song that is that you're working in, you can with the 0 key on the keypad, you can switch which one is the default deck. So we have that, just deck default pad 1, right? Okay, easy. Save it here. Now all we do is copy this, Now, so we hit the next button over, button 5, paste it in, change it to a 2. Okay. Now we click button 3 over here. On the keypad it says 3. It's button 6 on my mapping. Paste in 3. Next button. Paste it in 4. Guess you guys know what's coming next. We click the next button over, paste it in 5, and one more of these 9. This is pad 6 on the interface, so just to show that these actually work. So now we're on the left side deck. We can switch back and forth, but we're on the left side deck. So basically, we're going to set all the hot cues to the exact same place because the song's not playing. We can start. We can start the song playing, and notice sets a cue point, sets a cue point, sets a cue point, blah blah blah. You can do this as much as you want. Now, there you go. So we know the pads work. Now let's stop the track. So we know the pads work. Now that was easy. Now it'll work for either side. So let me try it just to make sure. We'll hop over to the B track and start that bad boy up. Sorry that you can't really hear this stuff, guys. I don't have... I've been struggling trying to get sound and the microphone to record at the same point, and I have a cheap sound card in here. I have a new one on order, so hopefully that will change in the near future. But so I apologize for that, but you should be able to see visually what we're doing here. So now we have this one, and we can set the cue points for this one. And now we can jump back and forth between those cue points and do those cool little vocal juggles that everybody likes to do. Alright, stop the track. So, now, let's go back into the editor. Now we're going to add the looping section. And this is really easy. This part's really easy. It looks exactly like you think it should. So now we're on the third row. So just to refresh here. We're on the third row of keys. These guys right here. So hit the first one, which is 7 on the keypad. Button 10 on my mapping. And so we're deck, default, loop, in. Oops. Loop, in. There we go. Just very simple. So click the next button over. Select it. Deck, default, loop, out. Alright. So now click the next button over. Wait, let me go back to this real quick. I think it... Okay, there we go. Okay, so button on the... So this is the 9 key on the keypad. Deck, default, reloop. There you go. So now we'll test this real quick. Alright, let's get rid of all these hotkeys because kind of makes it hard to see. Okay, so we'll start this track playing. We want to start a loop on the downbeat. And... well, it kind of did it. Loop out, lets the loop go. Reloop jumps back to the loop. Now we have a new loop, even though it kind of looks the same because the song's sort of generic. We can exit the loop, let the track go on for a while, and we can jump back to that loop whenever we want to with the reloop button, which is the 9 key. Okay, so that works. Loop out, let it go, stop the track. Alright, so now comes the slightly more complicated section. We're going to add the effects in. Now, for simplicity's sake, and also because a lot of DJs use these particular effects, I went with loop roll, phaser, and echo. Same thing on the other side. Click right here. We can get 3 effects at a time showing. We get loop roll, phaser, echo. Now, let me jump back to my diagram here real quick. I like to work symmetrically. That's just how I like having my stuff set up. You do it however you like. You can put these sliders. You can put these sliders up here on knobs. You can put the filters down here on the sliders. However you like to do it. This is how I did it. So I'm going to show you how I did it, and then you do it however you like. That's a great thing about this program. You can do it however you like. So let's see. We're going to add in the loop roll, and this is going to be probably I think the most complicated bit of script we do in the whole tutorial is for loop roll, because I want to do something particular with it. I want loop roll. Remember that slider, because we're going to do the left one first. All right. I want loop roll to be off when this slider is at 100%. Meaning when it's at 4 beats and a little bit beyond, I want it to turn off the effect. So that way when you bring in your loop roll from the bottom, taking the fader up, the first thing you get is a 4-beat loop, and then you can roll in tighter and tighter. The reason when I tried to do it the other way, where it starts out nothing, it just doesn't really work. This makes it work a lot better. So let me show you how I do that effect real quick. So we go into controllers, get back to our tutorial map. Okay, so now this is F2, fader 2. Slide it around. Pick it over here. So first thing we want to put in is deck left. Everything after this will apply to the left deck. So now we got this bad boy. Param invert. This takes the MIDI control that we're working on at the moment, which is slider 21, and it inverts the number. So 0 becomes 100 and 100 becomes 0. So change this. Now we have effect slider, right? So now we're going to invert this parameter and apply it to effect slider for effect 1, slider 1, right? Now I'll show you this real quick, just to show you that it works. So now as we bring the effect up from 0, it actually, so I'm moving the fader up, but it's moving the parameter down tighter and tighter. As we move it here, we come to a 4-beat roll. Now what we want to be able to do is, as we move this, make the effect actually turn on. The other ones are a little simpler. The phaser and echo are a little simpler because we don't have to invert them. Okay, so back to our editor, tutorial map, and so this is fader 2. Now we're going to do another action. Now we're going to do a query, and we said we want to do param equal %, question mark. So is the parameter after it's inverted equal to 100%, meaning for this particular effect, when the slider is all the way down, it will equal 100%, and we want to turn the effect off. So if it's true, we do effect active 1 off. Now we have, that's the first answer. So if this is true, turn the effect off. So when we have the slider all the way at the bottom, the effect will be turned off. If the slider is not all the way at the bottom, meaning if it's just a little bit up, we just do the opposite. Effect active 1 on. Now that's it. So now I'll show you this real quick. Let's start this cheesy song playing. And now we're going to slide up the loop roll. So this is fader 2. We're going to slide it up, and you'll see. Now the loop roll effect comes on, and now it's stuck looping. All the way up until it sounds like a buzzsaw. And we release the song, and we come right back to where the song should be. So that works. Stop the track. Now the other two effects we're going to do are much easier. So this is or a little bit easier because we don't have to invert the parameters. So we have, this is fader 3. I'm going to show you right now. This is for the phaser. This bad boy right here, fader 3, left deck phaser. Grab it. Now, so deck, left, effect, slider. Now, so we're doing effect 2, which is the phaser, and we're doing its first slider, which is the only one shown on the screen when you're in 3 effect mode. It's the first slider. Now, we add in the query, param, equal 0%. So is the slider all the way down? Question mark. So, okay, so now we're asking, is the slider all the way down? If the slider is all the way down, we want to do effect, active, off. Just like the other one. Effect, active, off. Effect. Oops. I told you I can't type today. I really apologize. On. So here we go. So we have, just to go over again, we have deck left. We're going to change the effect, make the parameter, do the first slider of the second effect. Is the slider equal to 0? Turn the effect off. If it's not 0, turn the effect on. So let's try, let's make sure it takes, save that bad boy, and just try it out here. So this is fader 3, and watch the effect here. Oh, let me grab the MIDI number, there we go. Oops, and I messed up. Sorry about that, guys. I did not put the effect number in, and it defaults to the very first one. So this is effect 2 off, effect 2 on. All right. Hopefully I don't mess this up again. So let's try. So this is the third fader. We're going to move it up, and there's our phaser turning on, and there's our phaser effect turning off. Now we just do the same thing. And now here we have the echo. So this is fader 4. This will be the last part of this tutorial, because you can do your own copy and paste. I showed you how to do that. You should know how to do that already. You can copy and paste to do your right side, or you can rearrange this whole thing however you want. Please, if you do come up with some neat way of doing it, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, so now we're going to make the echo effect, and then we'll be done, and you won't have to listen to my voice anymore. So we're going to grab, real quick, the phaser effect chain here. Script chain, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so now we're going to hit fader 4, which is slider 23 on this controller. We're going to paste in, and we only have to change this number right here. So effect 3, 3, 3, because the fader and the echo are going to work exactly the same here. Make sure it takes, save it. So now just to check, so here we're working fader 4, which again is this guy right here. Work it up, there we go. Echo effect turns on, slider down, echo effect turns off. I'm assuming this saves you some CPU cycles. I'm not 100% sure about that, but you know for a fact that it's off. Loop roll works opposite, remember. Turns on as it comes down, turns off when it's all the way at the top. You get a little bit of play there to get a 4-beat loop. And that's it. We have everything, and now You can, of course, add more effect parameters here. You could add more parameters for the phaser, more parameters for the echo. You can add them right in here. Same way we do these, all you have to do is change. So for the phaser, right, all you have to do is change this number right here. And you can leave off the rest of this. So, yep, that's it. So you can just leave off starting right here. That whole part that's highlighted, you can just delete that, change slider number here to 2, and you can do the wet-dry level or whatever you want for the effect, depending on what the effect is. So it's very flexible, very cool, and that's it, we're done. You should, at this point, be able to create a basic mapping for VirtualDJ and amaze your friends. And I hope that was interesting. I hope that was useful for everybody. This is my very first tutorial on YouTube, so I'm learning as I go along, and I appreciate any feedback. Like, subscribe, anything you could do. Tell me it sucked. Tell me you hate me. I don't mind. I can take criticism. I kind of like it. So I hope you guys find that useful, and look, check back. We're going to have more tutorials coming in the future. I have a little used DJ controller coming to put with this UC33, and so I'll probably make another tutorial on combining this to supplement another controller, something like that. And thank you all for listening, and I will see you guys in the future.